We are at Kumsheen Rafting Resort, Lytton, BC.
All right, Chels, let's get in here.
Good luck.
Do I need luck?
A little bit for sure.
Right.
Thompson it's one of the best whitewater rafting rivers in the province. It's one of the largest as well.
It was really funny, like I lived here all my life and I rarely do things like this. It's like it's right in my backyard.
Yeah.
I'm
excited.
very excited.
There's nothing like this in China. And this is the magic of Canada, right?
This is Chinaman Falls, start of our adventure. Today we're going to be rafting like 18 good-sized rapids.
What does it mean, rapids?
A set of waves or drops, including this one section that we call the Devil's Gorge.
Devil's Gorge, we're ready for this.
I can't breathe.
That's okay. Oh, you can talk so you can breathe. Looks good. One big event actually happened right here on the mouth of this creek where it hits the Thompson River. This is where gold was first discovered in 1858 to start the Caribou Gold Rush. Without them finding gold here, this place would look a lot different for sure.
Shouldn't this be called Gold River?
Today, Chelsea and I are in Lytton, BC, in search of adventure and gold. Carved by the glaciers from the Ice Age, the Thompson River runs through the south-central portion of BC. It was named after the famous Canadian explorer David Thompson before gold was discovered. That's me! It was a vital waterway for the fur traders, gold miners, and railway workers during that time. I think I need to talk to HR. Today, the rail service continues to run along its sides. And in the middle, crazy thrill seekers rush us down the rapids, taking in the supernatural beauty of BC's interior and its diverse history. The Frandich family, who owns and operates Kumsheen Rafting, has incorporated many of the local indigenous and transplanted historical elements into the resort.
But seriously, is there any more gold here?
No, but I think there's a railway that you can build.
Not the same.
Up here in Lytton, in the middle of nowhere, BC, I would say, we're staying here at the Kumsheen, and these cabin tents, and we have the Chinese hut. And I think if you don't look into the history, you might think that this could be kind of racist. Why do you have a Chinese hut in the middle of nowhere? Are they trying to ching-chong this place up just for cultural appropriation? Pottery fragments from the 1860s Chinese railway camp found by Cabin 13. I'm assuming Cabin 13 is around here, and there's a lot of like porcelain, these bowls that sort of come together used by that time. What amazes me is that there's actually a lot of Chinese artifacts, and it says to me that there's a lot of Chinese Canadian history. To top it all off, you can't have a Chinese theme room without Chinese checkers, or as I would like to call it, just regular checkers.
Is that a dad joke?
We know that there was a Chinese railway camp here when the CPR was built, and that's where those little pieces of pottery in your cabin have come from. The cabins themselves, when we decided to put them up, my idea was just to put some kind of Lytton history in each one so that we could get people interested in history, and because I am.
Chinese bowls here, I know that they use this as decorations, but I actually still use this at home.
All right, guys, this is Frog Rock. Welcome to the Devil's Gorge. All forward, and get down, get down, get down!
Kumsheen River rafting is a family business started by Lorna's husband, Bernie. In recent years, their son Andrew has mostly taken over the rafting operations, giving Lorna more time to focus on preserving the almost forgotten stories of the Canadian frontier.
A lot of people are interested in opium stuff, of course, and a lot of people interested in the gaming things.
In the village of Lytton, with a population of about 2,000 people, including the surrounding areas, stands a little Chinese museum that celebrates and includes a part of an often overlooked Canadiana.
How'd you come to accumulate so many pieces?
I only had a few pieces of my own, and there were two major collectors. Both of these men are in their 80s now. They were bottle collectors in the 1970s, which was just a bit of a fad. And so as they were finding these unique bottles, they kept running into Chinese pieces. So they would be primarily from Gold Rush era, some a bit later, and then in this area, quite a few from the railway production also.
So we have somebody like Lorna collecting all of these, and we're Chinese, we don't even collect it. Why is that?
I think because we're seeing too much of that, so we don't find it fascinating. And she finds it fascinating.
So which is good?
Which is good. Which Which I think we should collect some of that too, because it's antique.
Because I think the reality is, if she didn't do it, nobody would have done it. So all of these artifacts of the gold miners and the railway workers 100 years ago would still be buried in the sand and nobody would know their history. We would not have gone up there, right?
Yeah, but I care about the gold in the sand.
I think that's all gone. I think they did a pretty good job.
They got it all.
The response to me for doing it has been, very, very good. I've been really happy about that because I was concerned about being non-Asian and doing this, but they have been, very, very good about it, and I'm doing it just out of my own personal interest of educating people that Chinese people were important here.
Hard forward, hard forward!
Just when you think that's all the Asian there is in the area, there's also a Google 4-star rated Jade Springs restaurant serving up authentic Chinese Canadian cuisine.
What's Chinese Canadian cuisine?
It's good stuff. This is Chinese Canadian food.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually really excited to show you.
It's really Chinese food.
I love
100%.
chicken wings.
Yeah. 春卷雞翼 and mutton in
Actually,
Lytton.
really good.
I tell you, you like them.
I like it.
I feed those kids from year old to now. Look how big is it? They see us more than my own kid.
Since 1984, Ken Wong and Chef Sherman has been serving up chicken wings, deep-fried spring rolls, and wontons to the local community.
How did you choose this city?
This
town?
is not.
This town. How did you choose this town instead of any other little town?
Well, the Chinese 講緣分你好嘛?
Oh, it's your fate.
Yes. If you feeling that place lucky to you,
This place you
you
felt the luck.
yes, you must stay with it.
What brought you here though?
Because I'm poor. I need to make some money.
This is a place to make some money?
Yeah.
I was actually caught off guard by that answer because I would do the opposite. I will move to the city where there's more people, more opportunity, more money to make money.
Look at this way. Me and Sherman, we had no choice. We had to work in the restaurant. The reason is we had no money, we had no education, we not can
But
speak
you know
English.
how to cook.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only way we can make a living on
Which is
and
important.
raise the kid up.
Yeah.
Now the kid have education, they get a better job. No way, they want to come back to Lytton or stay in little town. No, they have way better thing to do in the big city.
The Chinese food is actually one of the greater inventions for the Chinese people to survive abroad, and that was it. My father ran a Greasy Spoon restaurant in Vancouver after he worked in Victoria, and he moved over here.
I've always said Chinese food is good.
Actually, you did.
Every word changes. Chinese brought you great food and better economy. What's there to complain about?
So Chelsea, what was your experience like doing the show?
I get recognized everywhere I go, even I travel. Like any country, actually.
Yeah, actually, I was in Japan, and I met some new friends there, and they're like, "Oh, Vancouver, I've heard of it." It's like, you guys have that show, Ultra Rich Asian Girls of Vancouver. I'm like, yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, it's a fun show.
This tastes like shit. 谁买的呀你们?
You were in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Did you expect to see so many Chinese people?
Well, no. No, I did not.
While immigration seems like a one-way street, on the other side of the world, Canadian producer Wingle Chan is in Hong Kong getting ready for Thanksgiving dinner with the Lauder family, who settled into the former British colony over 20 years ago. It was a family startup business that gave them the opportunity.
It was probably like the biggest culture shock you could imagine, really. Because we were coming from the flattest place, of Canada, in the prairies, in Winnipeg, yeah, on Earth maybe. Yeah, and then coming to Hong Kong, which is decidedly not flat.
We'd always traveled ourselves, both my husband and I, and we wanted to get our kids to have more of a global view. So we wanted a chance to get them out of Canada to see and to live somewhere else. And this just transpired with my niece that we could start a business together, and we ended up coming in.
Yeah, so this next one's called the Jaws of Death. It was named by Chinese railway workers. I guess when they're building the railway through here, a lot of them fell in and were never seen again.
So Chelsea, how do you say the jaws of death in Chinese?
死亡之下巴。
指王是下巴。
Uh-oh, we have a boatload of Chinese people. I don't know about this. It's too late to turn back. What's going on?
Try not to fall out.
There was a time when there was huge discrimination and racism.
Tsunami of hate around the world.
Everything about this assault and the behavior of the suspect is despicable.
Go back to China where you belong.
Sorry, wrong era. There was a time when the Chinese were given a Chinaman's chance to survive in Canada, as their sacrifices in BC meant their families in China would have food on the table and a roof over their heads.
Their early years were extremely difficult. The thousands who work on the railway were given the most dangerous back-breaking jobs. They were paid much less than their white co-workers, only $1 a day.
Oh my God, I can't eat it.
This way, yeah, okay.
I think that's the most significant thing.
Yeah, why are you so mean?
That we recognize the wrongs that were done, but at the same time, we also come to understanding and reconciliation. Now, a multicultural society with the various groups, how we could actually live harmoniously in the future and how we could move forward.
As the BC government acknowledges the historical wrongs made to Chinese workers and immigrants, across the Pacific, the immigration experience was a little bit different.
My face. No.
I mean, we're a minority, but we're not a disadvantaged minority, so that makes a huge difference.
It's a weird thing in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
You get to be like an advantaged minority,
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
Because I think the Hong Kong people see you as an opportunity to practice their English. You are like what we call the English environment.
So when we go to Europe, we get the same reception, right?
I was on a bus years and years ago when he first lived in the country park. Didn't have a car
that
back
happened
then.
several times.
Rode the
yeah.
buses, and the bus got stopped, pulled over on Chinamans Road, and the police came on. Were asking for everybody's ID, and they didn't ask me, and I was really offended. I had mine out and ready, and he wouldn't look at it.
You were offended in that way.
You weren't discriminated against.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a Canadian.
Yeah, that is a Canadian right there, yeah. Discriminating against me!
We think that Canadians in general are very, very nice people, very friendly. At least that's what's communicated by the media. And we know that you have vast amounts of country and land and woods and forests and nature, and that's what brought us here. Yeah.
Kumsheen, what is that? Where did that originate from?
It's actually a local word, like First Nations word, meaning the meeting place of the two great rivers.
I just wanna go home, where everybody knows me home.
America is called the melting pot. So you come in as another nationality and you get turned into an American. And then they said Canadians were more like a tapestry. One thread coming from one side is your Hong Kong heritage. The other is your new Canadian identity, and you can keep both at the same time.
Well, it's not that bad.
A more accurate interpretation of the indigenous name Kumsheen means the place inside the heart where the blood mixes. As our journey rafting down the Thompson come to an end, I learned that cultures in Canada are like rivers, both mighty in its own right. But it's more beautiful and stronger when they come together.
Having survived the jaws of death, I have a new appreciation of the hardship the early Chinese faced. I think in Canada we're all one, we're all in the same boat, and pushing one person off to save yourself means you are paddling alone.
Part of being Canadian, if you want to go ahead and do something, you have a good idea, you can make it work, and we did that.
I live where the two rivers meet. That means a lot to me. I was born here in Lytton, and I always call Lytton my home. Even though I go away to many places, I always come back.
Yeah, well, we always get asked, do you like Hong Kong or do you love Hong Kong? And after 20 years, it kind of feels like an irrelevant question to me. It always feels like Hong Kong's home.
Well, indeed, I'm born in China, I'm Chinese, but Canada is my country now. is home.